Welcome to Podnutz, Computer Repair Podcast, episode number 138. I'm Jeff Halash. This is our live call-in show for computer repair techs. We bring you tips and ideas for your IT business. The call-in number is 1-888-697-0162. Let me introduce the co-host. We have with us today John Dubinsky from MavenGroup.net. How you doing, John?
Doing great. It's a great day in America.
Yeah,
in Canada, too.
Absolutely. And also joining us today, we have Alex Chamandy from Investant.com. How you doing, Alex?
Doing well, Jeff. How are you doing today?
I am doing excellent. Ready to talk some tech. And also just joining us, I think he's live on the air, we have Chris Carruthers from the Remote Support Tech team. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
I am doing excellent. Ready to rock and roll. All right, guys, we got Jetpack Live Show number 3 presented by Instant House Call, hosted by me. Meet fellow techs and business owners online. Learn real ways to grow your IT business. You'll also hear tales from the trenches. Learn sales and marketing tips you can actually use. And chat online during the show. The last 2 weeks, we've already had episode 1 and 2. They've been awesome. We've got July 13th and the 20th, 2015. So they are Mondays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come check that out. You can check that out. I'll have a link in the show notes where you can sign up for that and come watch the show live. And just if you missed episode 1 and 2, you can go to the itjetpack.com page and watch the previous episodes there and check them out. We've got CompTIA ChannelCon coming up August 3rd through the 5th, 2015 in Chicago. Go to the link in the show notes for your free ticket. You can get a free ticket that's going to cover the entrance to the event itself and a lot of food. I think breakfast and lunch is covered. And we'll probably do something in the evenings when we hang out and grab some pizza or whatnot in the famous area of Chicago. These are provided by Instant House Call. Again, it's like a $300, $250, $300 value, something like that. You just got to get your rear end there and just come hang out with us. So we're gonna have a good time there. If you are going to CompTIA ChannelCon in Chicago, join us for a Tech Nibble and Podcast for Meetup Sunday, which is the day before the event actually starts, August 2nd at 5 to 7 p.m. Get a chance to mingle with the Podnutz, Tech Nibble, Mike Tech Show, and the Computer Business Podcast and Tech Vets communities. We should have a blast getting to meet everybody that we hang out with online and elsewhere. All right, and also after that, join us after the meetup at 10 p.m. that night for Escape from the Room with a real live zombie. Yes, there will be a real live zombie that wants to eat your brains. The tickets are $28, and we need to get a count for how many people are going. So if you could, send me an email or go to itjetpack.com/connect and get your tickets now. We got to make sure that we can have they can cart, the zombies from wherever the zombie-infested island is and bring them back in and put them in a room so that, we got to escape before they get to us. Anyways, it'll be a lot of fun. I think we're going to have a blast. Right now, we've got John, myself, Chris, Corey, and Chris's fiance, Shannon, is also going to be joining us. So we definitely, there's like 12 people to a room, and we should have a couple rooms there. So get your tickets so we can get that stuff all settled. And I think with that, Alex, let's go ahead and start with you this week. What have you been What have you been up to in your business? If I can talk.
Yeah, you're fine. Just been keeping busy. Been working on rolling out new websites for some of our clients. I've been doing some business IT work for some new clients that I've taken on, ranging from just small local community businesses to some pretty larger, small businesses to medium-sized businesses, and doing anything from, helping them roll out new networking functionality to helping them secure their networks, and in one case actually helping to investigate a hack of a network. So it's been pretty interesting on the IT side too, and then just keeping busy with repairs and data recoveries too, so just firing in all cylinders right now. It's been really good, but really busy.
Nice. Cool. Well, maybe we'll talk about some of that, the network stuff that you're doing in those businesses. That would be an interesting topic.
Sure.
Also, let's see, John, what about you? What have you been up to in your business lately?
Well, things seem to come in groups. This month seems to be like the month of memory. Like a ton of memory failures. Had a server with some memory failure, a couple of laptops with memory failures. I don't know who drives this train, but somebody up in the front seems to choose what happens when, and it always seems to come in groups, in my opinion. Probably the most interesting thing I had happen is I had a Charter modem fire. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, my.
It looks good, but my customer called me and says, hey, our internet's not working. So I go over there, all their equipment's down in the basement. I go down in the basement, and this thing's smoking like a hibachi.
Oh.
So that was kind of fun. I'll have to post some pictures in the Google Plus. But other than that, everything's going good. I celebrated 20 years this June doing this gig. So
congratulations, man. That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Thanks.
And Chris, what have you been up to in your business lately?
The biggest thing that I've been up to is I have, for those who haven't heard, I've actually taken over for Lisa from Call That Girl for hosting the Podnutz Technical Meetup in CompTIA. So most of my week has been going over everything that's been decided so far and kind of planning everything out to make sure it's all nice and smooth.
Very cool. Yeah, we'll definitely excited that Chris is taking that over, and we'll definitely we're going to get together and we're all going to have a good time. I can tell you that. I can almost guarantee it, right, Chris?
Sure.
Hopefully
I'm
everything.
I'm going to have a good time, even if you guys don't.
No, you know what? I think it's going to be a great time. We have Bryce coming in from Australia,
Yes.
so and I've had coffee with the guy, and he's a pleasure to have a conversation with. So I'm super excited that he's going to be there. And then there's Jeff, but
I'm just a tag along.
That's right. and we have most of the Podnutz crew, which I met most of them, if not all of them, last year at CompTIA as well. Yeah, I'm super stoked, and I was excited to be there in the first place, but now I kind of have a hand in the back. Really, anybody who hasn't gotten their tickets yet, I think we still have that link, Jeff, for the free tickets.
Yes, the link's still.
We have access to some free tickets for you guys, so use the link, get some free tickets, and come out and see us because we want to meet y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, Chicago being such a, kind of a centralized location from a lot of people that they can get to. A lot of them are. Well, we're driving, right? You're driving from Canada. I'm driving about halfway with you because you're picking me up on the way. So it's about 4 hours for me. So it's John, you're what, about 3 hours outside of Chicago?
3.5, depending on traffic. Maybe 10 if the traffic's bad.
You're coming in on Sunday, right?
I am, yes.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Yes.
You'll be fine. Nobody gets up and does anything on Sunday, right?
Aren't we going to have some other celebrities there, too, from some of the podcasters outside the network? Like Mike Smith?
Yeah, Mike Smith from the and Kerry Holzman.
Okay.
We'll also have Steve McLaughlin from Podnutz, the owner of Podnutz.com, which would be awesome. I personally have never had a chance to meet Steve myself, so not in person. We talk all the time. Sometimes we stay up late and talk on the internet and other things, but it'll be very, very interesting. Also, we have Matthew Rodella is coming in from the Computer Business Podcast, so he'll be coming in there. So yeah, we got a lot of people coming in that I've never met any of them personally, but I've talked to them online, and I think a great group of people that'll be fun to just kind of hang out with and just have a good time.
And obviously hopefully everything ends up positively for Lisa too. So
yeah. And then also for those that are kind of on the fence, just thinking about it, since Chris kind of did bring this up a little bit, and I think it was mentioned before that remember if this is something you do in your business, okay, this is a 100% complete write-off. I know it is in the U.S. anyways. I don't know about Canada, but I'm assuming.
No, it is.
Same way. Okay. I'm just checking, Chris. I don't know. I just.
The overall rule. I actually had a long conversation with my accountant about this, and at the end of the day, what it comes down to is if you're spending that money to make money, and going to an event like this is spending money to make money because it's continued education and vendor relations for your business, then it's a write-off.
Absolutely.
Including the beers that you buy after hours when we're all sitting and talking.
Yeah, and if I drank beers, I'd expect a lot of them, but I don't, so it's all cool. You guys can buy me coffee though. I love coffee.
There you go. Everybody has to buy Jeff a coffee, and don't worry, it's a write-off. Just get the receipt.
I'm a cheap date, I'm telling you. Anyway.
Alternatively, if everybody buys Jeff a beer, I'll drink it for him. So.
There you go.
Not a cheap date at Starbucks.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I didn't say what type of coffee, did I?
No.
Anyways, one of the things I've had this week that came up, which was weird, I had a computer that came in that I did a regular virus cleanup on. No problems. Got everything cleaned up. It was running a little slow. I did some things to it. Got it back running nominally. And the MSI, I couldn't get any MSI files to install. So MSI is an installer that is, slightly different than an EXE. I don't understand all the differences or what it does, but it basically wouldn't run. So I was getting an error, a 2502 and 2503 error. And basically, it has something to do with permissions. And I don't know of a for certain fix, except that our friend Paco LeBron had told me today that he had the same problem, and the only way he was able to fix it was using the Windows tweaking.com all-in-one repair tool. And he basically, because I ran that tool and it didn't fix the problem, he basically clicked all the checkboxes for the tool and just let it run overnight. And whatever it did with all the tools that are in the all-in-one, it basically fixed that problem. Now, there is a quick fix, and let's face it, there's not a whole lot of installers that are MSI anyways. So well, I mean, not for the normal people, I will say that.
That's not true at all.
Most people are downloading EXEs is what I'm saying. So for the general public of what they download and use, they're not using MSI installers. So there is a quick fix if you need to get something installed, but you're not worried about having it necessarily permanent. Is you can basically go into Task Manager by hitting Control-Alt-Delete. You go into Task Manager, and what you're going to do is you're going to go to the Explorer.exe and end task. Once that task is ended, you'll go back up to the top under File, and what you're going to do is you're going to relaunch a new task, and you're going to type in Explorer.exe and check the box underneath, which gives it administrative privileges. So once you do that, you launch it, boom, you'll be able to install that MSI. The only thing is, whatever the settings were, it resets when you shut the computer off and turn it back on again.
So just for everybody else, sorry Jeff, I'm going to add to that a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the 2502 and the 2503 errors, because they're actually related. I'm not going to get into the difference between EXE and MSI, but I think we should have a talk about that at some point, Jeff.
Wow.
So it's hey, whoa, you know what? I'm not usually the serious one here, so give me this one.
Go ahead. No, add to it. Seriously, 'cause I want to know.
There's some pretty common reasons for it, and actually I put a link in the chat to the Instant House Call help article, because it's actually something that happens to any MSI, including the Instant House Call installer.
That's what I needed it for, by the way. That's what I was doing.
Okay, well then, you know what? You should have gone on the Instant House Call help site, because
that would have been a good idea.
There's an article. So if the date and time is not set properly on the computer, then the installer is going to fail if it's an MSI, so you have to correct that.
Right.
If the C Windows installer directory doesn't have the proper permissions, then that's going to fail, because MSIs are the Microsoft installer packages. So if the permissions are corrupt or incorrect on that folder, it's not going to work.
Right.
And then doing the run Explorer as administrator works, but that's more because you're running it as the administrator account. So if it's a permissions corruption problem, you're just running it as a different account, and that's why it's working.
Yes. Correct.
So there's some pretty quick fixes in that article that I linked up. I have never seen those 2 or 3 things not work. So I guess the all-in-one repair tool would be something that you could do, but I try to avoid that tool and combo fix as much as possible.
Well, what I did was I wrote in the I did a command prompt and tried the normal fix to re-access that administrator privileges. And what Chris had said is basically all the things I'd read yesterday, kind of understanding some of that stuff. And basically there's not a whole lot of information I could find, or the ones that I found, people were like, they're grasping at straws. And the command prompt fix would not work in that situation. So I had to go to, I just needed an Instant House Call with unattended access installed on this machine. So then when I give it back to this person, I can basically remote back in the machine. That's all I really needed it for. They didn't really need anything other than that at this point. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check out that article, and we'll definitely put that. Send me a link to that, Chris, and we'll put that in the show notes also, and so people are aware of how to fix that problem. Because I looked around yesterday, and like I said, it was very few and far between of what I found.
Can do.
All right, cool. All right, so let's go into some emails. All right. This is from Peter Johnson. It says, "Hi, I'm an avid listener to Podnutz Daily. I've listened to every show and bought the laptop repair videos, website builder, and TechNibble business kit." Well, thank you. I tend to let time slip by and then download a month's worth of shows at a time so I can listen to several and hear the follow-up answers in the next show immediately. Yeah, I wish it was like that, except Podnutz Daily in particular, I record most of the time way ahead of time. So they're not as immediate as you would like to believe. But yeah, sometimes they're right on time, but a lot of times I get way ahead. A few shows ago, someone mentioned starting a computer graveyard for techs, where you can buy scrap for low prices from each other. I would like to contact that person. I have several laptop and desktops in pieces that I could bring back to life to sell the parts as scrap for low prices to other techs. It should not be another eBay, but a site where you can sell, buy parts for, say, $10, $20 to each other. I would also like to know of any reputable dealer that I can sell bad circuit boards to. I would appreciate a reply with the email or website that I can contact this person and get things going. Peter Johnson. And Peter, thank you for the email. And the reason I brought it on this show is a couple reasons, because I think it's something that's everybody needs to kind of know about. One of the things that in doing these podcasts, I do literally so many of them, I cannot remember where the content came from or who talked about what, just to be honest. And even though, and to be honest with you, I don't really, after doing the podcast, I don't go back and listen to them. So I check out the first like 5 minutes, and once the audio is good for me, that's about as far as I go. So yeah, it's on a rare occasion I might go back and listen to that information. I wish I had more time to, but you know, maybe I will do that in the future. But as of right now, I don't. So yeah, it's hard to find that stuff. And so if anybody listening to this show remembers talking about that or remembers who had talked about that, you know, send me an email and let me know. But other than that, I think it's a great idea to set up a computer graveyard. I just know there's a lot of things involved in being able to do that. And I don't have all the ins and outs. But do you guys know of any, and I don't know of any reputable dealers that you can sell like bad circuit boards to for parts. Do you guys do any of that stuff in your businesses?
I do not, but I think the Pod 432 is the show you're looking at. I think that was Chandler Calvert.
Oh, look at you. You're the man.
Okay.
See, I knew somebody would know. All right, 432.
Mr. Halash.
That's awesome.
John keeps show notes just for you, Jeff.
That's right.
I used to, back in the day, you know, have my garage full of everything that I always thought I would need, but seems like every year I try to pare it down because you could get most of that stuff on eBay on demand.
Right.
Yeah.
And it always seems like I have all the parts that I don't need.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing is getting the ones you do need.
Right. How about you, Alex?
Now, luckily with what I do, most of the units I do, like we do all the Dell Optiplex, so I do have a commonality of a lot of the parts I do versus a lot of the guys that do the consumer stuff, which probably see 1,000 different things.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but still, it's always the wrong part at the wrong time. So,
right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Alex, do you know of anybody that you can sell basically scrap to?
You know, it really depends on the grade of what you're selling. Some places are probably I don't know the names of the list, but I mean, there's some places that'll probably buy partially functional or relatively easy to repair parts, and then there's other places that are really just looking to get the base metals and precious metals out that are melting them down, and they buy by like the 100 or thousands of pounds. And usually you can look up those kinds of places by just looking up, you know, an e-waste recycler or a scrap purchaser in your area. They actually call us at least once or twice a month, different ones, to try to buy our e-waste. So that might be an area if you have a lot, but if you're actually looking to sell board by board, I don't know that you're really going to get too good of a price that it would be worthwhile.
No.
Gotcha. Chris?
We have a couple of like big recycling bins that we have in the back of the office, and we just throw everything in there until they're both full.
Okay.
And then there's a company that's actually not too far away from our office. They're called Geep, and they're an electronics recycling place. So we might get $20 for the 2 bins, but it keeps it out of the landfill, and that's what we're more concerned about.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got boxes and boxes of stuff down in the basement. I mean, years old, and I'm slowly going through the stuff, and I'm not really looking to make any money off of it. I just want to recycle it responsibly. That's my biggest thing. So I think I found a local e-waste company like you guys are talking about in the area that I can contact. I could care less if I get a dime for it. I just want to get it out.
Right.
And, you know, and keep it from the landfill. So that's and really how I found that was just getting online and doing a search for, you know, like these guys are talking about e-waste or, you know, some sort of electronics recycling, you know, something along those lines.
I can tell you what we did. We partnered with one of our nonprofits because it always seems like when I show up to an office, there's 4 PCs there that, are 5 years old that they say, hey, let's just get rid of these. Can you take these? And I don't have anywhere to take them. So what we did with one of our nonprofits, they partnered with CompreNew. So once a year, they do a collection through them that goes to CompreNew, and then they get so much per pound. So they have a little fundraiser to collect all that stuff. And I know CompreNew will do that. So if any of you deal with a nonprofit or want to do something like that, that's a great way to, obviously, the nonprofit loves it and our customers like it too. And I don't know if it does anything for us, but it makes me feel good.
Exactly. No, excellent. Yeah, good, great answers.
And when you have computers that aren't too old, you can, and like if they're 5 or less years old, there might be local charities, if they're in reasonably good shape, you can refurbish them to, that you can donate them to. In some situations, you might be able to get a tax write-off, but at least you can make sure they find a good home and someone that actually needs to use them that might not otherwise be able to afford them can get them.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head, though, Alex, is that less than 5 years old, guys. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old computers, just responsibly get rid of them, please. It is just not worth it. Don't give somebody else that headache.
And unless they're a classic.
Yeah, but unless you have like a Commodore 64 or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about CompreNew. They do all that. They go through all of it, clean it up. They attest that they'll wipe the disk, although we always wipe our customer data before it goes there, even there.
Absolutely.
But then they promised either to renew, reuse, or dispose of properly.
Okay.
Yeah. And one thing to keep in mind with those too, especially if you're going to be working with a nonprofit, is that whenever you wind up with an electronics recycler that's going to pay you per pound or by weight, most of them will pay out more for a fully assembled computer than they will for parts. So what we've done when we do the charity drives, and don't tell anybody, is we'll make sure that all of the parts that need to be in there to be a computer are there, and we'll throw it in like, oh, okay, well, there's 2 RAM stick slots. Well, we have 2 pieces of RAM in the box. Let's throw it in there. And, it makes a difference of a couple of cents, but at the same time, when you're doing it for charity, a couple of cents could make a difference.
Sure. All right, good point. Excellent. All right, let's move on to the next email. And the next email is from Michael. And it looks like Korosek. I'm sorry, I probably messed your name up there. But anyways, Michael, it says, hey, Jeff, just wanted to quickly tell you I enjoy the podcast. I normally listen at my regular warehouse job during the day, and I just want to say thanks for reviving my sanity a bit. I'm glad I could revive your sanity. I don't know how you can be revived from your sanity listening to my voice, but whatever. No, I'm glad you're getting some good knowledge from this.
Don't be modest, Dr. Jeff.
Yes, yeah, Dr. Jeff. Oh my gosh. All right, with that being said, I just wanted to ask a question about something that came up recently while working on a family member's laptop running Windows 8.1. I've never had or have seen this issue. Basically, the Wi-Fi could not connect despite saying it was connected to the router. There was a limited connection symbol across the Wi-Fi icon. I ran the Windows Network Diagnostics, and it came up with an error about not finding the default gateway. I then connected it hardwire and copied all the IP settings and manually inserted them into the wireless configuration, and it still would not work. Then I uninstalled, reinstalled the wireless drivers, and the same issue persisted. I basically exhausted everything I knew that would fix it and Googled everything, and still nothing worked. I decided against a nuke and pave, so to speak, and just left it alone for the time being. Have you ever had an issue similar to this? Thanks again for the podcast, and you've definitely inspired me to start my own part-time computer repair business. I recently just purchased the Technibble kit, and so far it has been great. Thanks. Well, thank you, Michael, for the email. Appreciate that. And Michael and I have had a little bit of back and forth. I kind of gave him some things, but what do you guys have something that might be able to help people with this type of problem, or have you seen something like this before? Anyone?
The last time I saw a problem like that, it was the router, but I might have missed it if he said that there was other wireless devices that worked.
He didn't say that in this one, but in the following corresponding emails, he did say that there were other wireless devices that work. But here's the thing. Here's basically what I said to him. I said, number one, a lot of times a router can act weird with different wireless cards. So you might have some computers and wireless devices that are working fine, but that one, because you're starting to get a slow degrade on the router, and a lot of times what I tell people is I've never personally had a router last past 5 years, not a consumer grade router anyways. They usually get flaky around 4.5 years, and I deal with it for about 6 months before I get so tired of it, and I basically go and get a new router. I said the other thing it could actually be the Wi-Fi card on that device. And sometimes that will cause a limited connectivity. It might not be the drivers or anything like that. I said, there could be proxy settings and different pieces of malware that are, messing up that internet connection too. And so in his corresponding emails, he basically said that he had not gone through. He said he did notice there was a bunch of malware and different things on there. He did not go through and clear all that stuff up. So that could have been part of this problem. But those are the three things that I normally look at when I get this type of problem.
Could be router firmware, or maybe the DHCP range too small. Some people set that really small and then forget they set it really small, so there's not enough IP addresses to hand out.
You wouldn't get the same gateway address.
He's all getting the gateway? I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it came up with it, which I find funny because he said he used the Windows Network Diagnostics, which has never done anything for me. In my opinion, I don't know why it's in there because it doesn't work. But it came up with an error about not finding the default gateway.
Huh.
So, which, to me, it could be like I said, it could be a malware block of some sort that's causing a problem. There's all kinds of things. Basically, in this type of situation, I'm going to do a full cleanup on the computer. I'm going to get rid of all the viruses. I'm going to get rid of all the malware. I am going to make sure that Windows is repaired fully. And then if I still have the same problems, then I might start to check the hardware and see what's going on there.
I concur to you. I think you're right.
So, anyways, thank you, Michael, for that. And let's move on to the next email. Okay, this says, hello, Mr. Halash and friends. I love when people call me Mr.
Stick a fork in it, Jeff.
Yeah, that's right. I'd rather stick a fork in my eye. Anyways, no, I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate it. This is from Brandon Martin. It says, I know you have a flat rate fee of $89 that you've spoken about on the show. I also know that you have a pro plan that I assume is your managed service. Yes, I do. And it says, what do you do in the following scenario? A new customer brings you their computer, you let them know your prices, and suggest your pro plan. If they are interested, do you include the current repair you are performing in the billing, or do you charge your flat fee along with your pro plan fee? I've been pushing my managed service plan and saying something along the lines of, if you want to sign up for this now, the current repair will be included at no additional charge, blah, blah. Something like that. What are your thoughts? And thank you all so much for the podcast, etc. Brandon. So, Chris, why don't you go ahead and deal with that one first?
Oh, it would be my pleasure. First off, Jeff, you still have a flat rate?
On virus removals, yes.
Okay. Yes, if somebody signs up for the managed service plan with one of our clients and they're offering our service plan, the virus removal is included as long as they're paying for at least 6 months worth of the service. That way it covers the cost of actually doing the virus removal. It's a great incentive to get people to do that upgrade. Especially if there's a low price difference. A really good example is most of our clients have $150 for the 6-month plan, and it's $129 for the virus removal. So we're telling them, hey, for an extra $21, for 6 months, we're going to give you all this, and they take that. So, Brandon, if that's what you're doing, that's awesome. What I would really caution people not to do, though, is to include a service that's not part of the service plan to try to get them to go into it, because then you've set the expectation that if they call in and whine enough about their service plan, they're going to get a free repair.
Right. Yeah, and basically what I had sent him back was I said, I do that on the virus removal itself. I do not, if it's a hardware repair, that is a whole separate charge regardless.
Yep.
Anyone else that's doing managed services? Alex, what do you do?
I don't actually do managed services. I bill with a contract and a retainer.
Okay. So is that like prepaid tickets and things like that?
Basically, prepaid hours.
Prepaid hours, okay, good. And John, same thing?
I got to agree with Chris. Most important thing there is to set that expectation, what they're getting for what that prepayment is for or what your MSP plan covers. Just got to set no surprises.
Yep.
Yeah. Good point. Yep. So like I said, I sent him an email back of kind of what I do and same types of things. So yeah, I would definitely virus removal. Yeah, go ahead and include it. I think if there's a hardware repair, then it's a separate charge. And a lot of times, and you got to, and I will say this about the managed service plan, and I don't know if you taught me this, Chris, or where I learned it from, but basically.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Chris is my 25-year-old mentor. Anyways,
hey, 26.
Whatever. It doesn't, you're in your mid-20s. What does it matter?
Get her some Geritol.
25, 26, whatever. No, but is setting up the your contract and letting them know exactly what is covered under that plan. Because a lot of times people think that you sell them a managed service plan. If you're not selling a managed service plan for, let's say, if something breaks like a hard drive or something like that, you're doing it for the software side of it to protect them against viruses, malware, and different things like that. You have to stipulate that. And kind of like, Alex is doing the prepaid hours. Same time, now, Alex, that's going to cover anything, right?
Yes.
So hardware, software. See, that's a whole different. Alex, you actually are doing a managed service plan of sorts. It's just just looks a little bit different. That's all.
Well, we don't bill anything if people aren't having us do anything.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's a really big difference between a prepaid ticket and a managed service plan. Managed services is something that you're providing on an ongoing basis that has a regular recurring charge, whereas just a prepaid ticket is somebody handing you money and saying, next time I call you, use that.
That's a good point. You're prepaying the hours. So, and now are they getting a discount for that, Alex?
Yeah, they'll get a discount of about 10% on the time that we're putting in versus our normal rate, and also they're going to get priority when they're having an issue versus someone who doesn't have that, and that can make a pretty big difference. So it's worked out really well for us and our clients because they do like the idea they're not paying when they don't have anything that they need done.
That's a good point. Good point. All right, so hopefully that kind of helps you out there. And the next email is a really, really long one. So bear with me. This is from Trevor. It says, hello, my name is Trevor. I've loved your podcast so much I watch them live when I can or later in the day when I have time. I'm the typical computer nerd who started breaking my own parents' computers and learning how to fix them on my own. I've learned how to treat infections with the lovely tools such as Malwarebytes and Hitman Pro in combination with offline virus scans, which are included with a vast free version, which has helped me a lot. Ooh. I'm getting into the IT field. Don't ask what I want to do specifically because I understand IT stems into heaps of other jobs. I'm learning slowly and love listening to how you guys run your computer shops, and I'm surprised at how well I understand what you guys talk about. I have been fixing computers for a few years now for friends. Everyone has malicious programs on their computers, so I generally charge $80, sometimes $60 for Trojan virus, bloatware, malware, and spyware removal. I give everybody free antivirus programs because I try to get them on an AV plan, but they don't care about it. I tell them that they say no to buying antivirus. What can I do for them is to take them offline completely, remove all USB ports and CD drive from their computer, and that will fix their virus problems instantly. Just kidding about that, but I try to educate them. That's a good answer, though. What I'm asking about today is an issue I had with one particular client. She keeps getting blue screens of death while I'm not there. She does not keep them on the screen for me to read. She simply shuts it off so I do not get to read the errors so I can start to troubleshoot. What I did for her was her computer was so infected because her little brother downloads infected files. It was so bad after I ran Hitman Pro and ADW Cleaner along with antivirus and Malwarebytes. There have been Trojans that popped back up. I simply did a fresh install of Windows and everything was okay for a few weeks. Like I said, she was getting blue screens of death and not keeping them for me to read the errors. With what free tools can I use, or what can I use already installed within Windows 7 Ultimate that will show me these errors she's getting on her blue screens of death? I would also like to know one more thing. I have a few spare flash drives. What free tools should I carry on my USB toolkit to bring to clients' houses to diagnose and treat computer problems? I've heard about Kaspersky Ultimate Boot Disk, if that is the name, if I have the right name, but I'm not sure what other things I can use. I would like to have a USB flash drives to test any possible, flash drive tools to test any possible areas on their PC while offline so I can get a better understanding of what the issues are and if they are not related to infected files and malicious programs. Thanks for reading this, and I would greatly appreciate a reply from you and your panel. I'm starting my career at a Goodwill, and once I get a GED, they will try to transfer me to their computer shop where they refurbish and clear personal data off desktops and laptops for resale. I would like to know about the tools they may use for the job so I can learn more about them before going in there like a total newbie. If you could also talk briefly about what you might do when they get a donated computer and the steps they take, starting with putting the machine on a bench to work on it, and what they do to get the donated computers in pristine condition for resale on their website. Thanks, Trevor McGee. Thank you for the email, Trevor, and appreciate all that information. So, first of all, who can speak to you're getting a blue screen on your computer, and the customer, obviously restarts a computer or whatever. How do you go and find and see what the blue screens actually were?
Nearsoft has a little tool that's free called Blue Screen View,
Yep.
which will show you all the past blue screens that you've gotten.
All of them. With all of the details.
Yeah.
Yep. Date and time when it happened and all that kind of stuff.
And which DLL file caused the problem, and what all of the different bug checks were, and like it's got everything in there, so you can look up what you need.
And a lot of times, because at the face value, even if you look at a blue screen, right, it's really, really hard to tell. And especially on the newer operating systems, they don't even let you look at the blue screen. It just kind of, Windows 8 just kind of restarts and says, hey, we're fixing your computers. We'll be back with you in a minute. But on Windows 7 and below, they basically will have this blue screen that comes up, and a lot of times it could be a hardware driver, it could be some piece of software that got messed up or whatever. There's many different things. Sometimes it could be bad memory, actual bad hardware, things like that. And a lot of times, I've looked at so many blue screens over the years, I can kind of get an idea of where it might be pointing to, but they are not all inclusive to actually point you and go, hey, look over here. This is what you need to do to fix this.
No, but it's more like a hint. Gives you a hint.
Yeah, it's
And Corin in the chat's talking about Event Viewer too, which might be a good place to check out too.
Yep.
Well, if Event Viewer, see, I mean, I've always looked at Blue Screen View and, oh, okay, so it says it's the video card driver, so I reinstall the video card driver, and if it doesn't happen again, perfect. If it does, that's when I'm going to start getting into the event logs.
Right. Okay. And what were you going to say, Alex?
I was just going to say a blue screen is just really a truncated error message. It doesn't give you nearly the detail you need. It might just point you in the general direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Although I do want to say one thing, though, about that email.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from when you're looking for all the free tools that you can put on a USB. But if you really want to do this, you can't just rely on free tools. Especially you talked about using Malwarebytes. You can't use Malwarebytes as a technician to fix somebody's computer. You can't. You have to buy the Malwarebytes key. Hitman Pro, you can't use the free version of Hitman Pro to do anything. You can run a scan, but you can't run any repairs. You have to buy the one-off Hitman Pro licenses to do that. So all of those things that you're using right now, if they decided to go after all of us, which they might, then you're going to be in hot water for that. And above all of that, if Goodwill is where you're going to be doing all of these things, then Goodwill is the one who's going to have to buy all those tools, because you cannot bring in your own tools to work for Goodwill. So there's a lot of questions that are going to need to be answered before you jump in on that.
Okay. Good points.
But was he doing stuff for himself too on the side? Maybe some of those questions were about that.
Yeah, he was doing it on the side, and he eventually wants to work at the Goodwill.
Okay.
So yeah, he was doing a little bit of both. So yeah, some of these things. So yeah, basically, I sent him to, if you want to look for number one, here's basically what I sent him back. The first one was the Nearsoft Blue Screen View. Was the first thing that I told him. I said, go check this out. This will give you a little bit more information so that you can see exactly what happened when the blue screens were happening. I said, a couple other tools you can use which are automated, but they have a monthly fee connected with them, is D72 or the Tech Suite from Repair Tech Solutions. D72 is from foolishit.com, and I will have links to the show notes for both those tools. You guys can check those out. They've got great pricing on them. They basically will pull all, not only do they have tools inside of them, they're specifically written for them to do computer repair, but they also will bring in third-party tools that you can use to do fixes on your computer. So after that, if you want to look at a directory of tools, I sent them over to geek.com. Definitely check that out. He's got a ton of tools that cover everything from partitioning to antivirus to there's everything there. And then he does something which is kind of neat. He actually sells a little program that will download these tools automatically for you that you can put on your USB stick, and he does it by donation. So basically, if you give him a donation, he's going to send you a link. And again, I've said this in the past. A lot of times we want to use free tools all the time, and that's fine when you're starting out. But I think at some point when these guys are writing certain programs and things for us, I think sometimes giving them a little bit of money goes a long way to them continuing to do what the great tools that they pulled together. We're always expecting that there's always going to be somebody that's going to come behind whoever and create a better tool, and they're going to give it to us for free until they make their marketing and they basically start selling it for a fee. But that's not always the case. So if there's a good tool out there, you need to support it so that person can definitely update it and keep it on par with what's going on the internet.
Yeah, programmers have to eat too.
And one other thing he asked about was how he could test hardware outside of, looking at malware and things like that, how he could test hardware to see if the problem was related to the hardware. And a good free tool for that would probably be the Ultimate Boot CD, because it has things like various hard drive testing tools like Vivard, which works on just about any kind of hard drive, and also a couple of the memtest tools. So you can at least get an idea if the hard drive's acting up, the memory's acting up, before you start looking at any malware problems, and not after, so you haven't wasted a bunch of time. And that's a point, that you guys have to hit on frequently, because a lot of people are just getting into the show and don't realize the best order of operations. But that's an important one to drive home.
Absolutely. And it's funny because the Ultimate Boot CD, I had not used it in years. And actually my copy was a few years old. So there was the latest update, and I know it's not, it's not exactly up to date, modern times or anything like that, but I just downloaded the latest update that was on there and basically used it. And yeah, I was doing a bunch of things on there that I had totally forgotten about that I'd used years ago to actually diagnose some weird problems I was having on a computer, because my regular paid-for tools actually wouldn't work in this case. So,
it's good to have a variety of options.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, no, I like a lot of those. I still keep discs, and I know a lot of computers don't have, or a lot of newer laptops like Ultrabooks and stuff like that don't have the disk drives in them as much anymore, but I still keep the discs around, because regardless, you never know. Sometimes I've had computers where a USB drive won't work, and I actually have to use an actual physical CD, not a DVD, but a CD. So I know it's old school, but that's just how I roll.
Options.
Exactly. I always keep all tools that I've always used, and I keep, I've still got a big CD book of them. And then I've got some ones that I use very rarely. They're in a binder that I kind of set in the back corner of the bookshelf. But every once in a while, I get a weird issue where I got to pull that sucker out, and that whatever CD was in there in whatever tool will save my bacon. So, and everyone loves bacon, so that's good.
Especially Canadian bacon.
All right, I think we've kind of nailed that one. Here's another one. It says, good morning. This is from Travis, and this is another one from Podnutz Daily, but I thought I would bring it on the show because this is actually very good information for this show also. It said on episode 435, it was mentioned that with Microsoft Online Passwords, the tech was having issues with Ultrabooks and all-in-ones without network jacks getting into the account. It said we use the J5 Create USB Gigabyte Ethernet adapter network interface cards. And it's basically a USB 3.0 on one end, and it's a Ethernet jack on the other end. You plug it in. He says Windows 8 will install it automatically, and you can have a hardwired connection. Problem solved. Love the podcast, by the way. Travis Caulfield. Thank you, Travis, for the email, and appreciate that information. I will put a link to that in the show notes. I definitely need to pay. I don't have one, and I'm starting to get to the point where I am getting a lot of Ultrabooks. All-in-one still, I think for the most part, do have Ethernet jacks, if I remember. Maybe some of the, most of them do.
Yeah.
But the Ultrabooks, yes, some of them are, they're coming with like 2 USB ports, and pretty much that's it, and a power plug. Now, do you guys use any of those types of tools, or that type of interface card?
We always have a USB network adapter handy. Always.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, I've got a USB Blu-ray reader.
Yeah, Chris, by the way, you probably should be using that USB connector on your laptop right now.
And
Poor Chris.
And Chris,
I think the secret to
I'm
that.
back.
Yeah, are you back? I'm sorry, we couldn't hear what you said, so we're making fun of you.
Oh, it's okay. I said I have a USB Blu-ray reader and a USB floppy drive reader.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Essentials.
Yeah.
I think the secret to any of those USB tools, if you can, is find the ones that have the native drivers.
Right.
You can just plug and go.
Right.
Yep.
So you don't have to find a driver disk and.
Well, and that's why I looked at. So I'm looking at the different Ethernet adapters that you can find, the USB to Ethernet, and basically there are some really really cheap ones you can get, but I'm gonna want something that I don't have to fiddle around with. I can basically this one that I'm gonna put a link to in the show notes is a little more expensive. It's like in the $30 range, but to be honest with you, as long as it works, and it sounds like from what this person was saying that Travis was saying that it works for him all the time. So With that being said, I just need something that's going to work. So I'm willing to pay a little bit more money for it than, get some of the cheaper ones that may or may not work. And, as far as electronics go, man, some are, they're all cheap. I'll just put it that way. They break over time. So
Well, down where you are.
It might be a heuristic. It might be a sign of quality. So it might be the $30 adapter lasts a little longer than the $10 Ethernet adapter that just kind of falls apart. So it might be a good investment on that basis too.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm more looking for, like John was saying, the native. I want the native drivers to basically be able to pick this up if I'm not logged into the computer, and basically install it so it gets that connection right away, and it's not an. Now I will say on the Windows 8 machines, I can still get the wireless connection to work. I just have to put them on the network. I still, in my shop here, I still like using a wired connection if at all possible, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works better, and then you don't have these weird issues that maybe the wireless is causing and you don't know. So if I look at it with the wired and then figure out everything and clean it up or whatever, and then I go to the wireless, then I'll make sure it's still operating the same and all that kind of stuff.
Makes sense.
Now, do you guys use anything to test the wireless other than just putting it on the network and maybe doing a speed test or kind of dinking around on the internet and seeing how well it works?
You can always ping your wireless router to send out 1,000 packets back and forth, make sure that everyone is received with reasonable latency, make sure there's no strange jitter that's going on with the wireless card. That's a good thing to do. Also, sometimes in the event viewer, if wireless is acting up, you might have some interesting logs in there. And usually with a lot of wireless cards, updating the driver, especially if it's really out of date, can have a pretty big effect on improving performance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now, I will say the only thing you have to watch out for sometimes is I've had this problem with wireless drivers and video card drivers from Microsoft's updates website, and sometimes it will break your computer, especially laptops. So I generally don't. I usually go to the manufacturer and download the drivers. Now, sometimes depending on if it's an older machine, and I know that the drivers are probably tried and true, sometimes I still will use Microsoft Update, but when it's a newer machine, absolutely not.
I found the Microsoft Update drivers for wireless cards seem to be better with Intel than the others. The others seem to be a little bit more flaky, like the Atheros and the Realtek. You sometimes might run into a blue screen after updating. They're going to spend 15 minutes to a half hour restoring from before when you installed that driver. But I'm 100% on board with the idea of going to the manufacturer website, because the other reason is quite often they have much more recent drivers than Windows.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, good point. It's hard. The reason I say on the older ones is a lot of times, it takes a while for, Windows Update. Number one, the manufacturer has to give the update to Windows Update, and they've got to verify it. They got to verify the signature. They put it in, and so it takes a long time. So that's why a lot of times when it's an older machine, 3-4 years old, sometimes I don't have as big a problem with it because I know it's probably the latest driver that came out from the manufacturer, anyways. Because there is a point where even the manufacturers stop making drivers for laptops and desktops and different things.
Right.
All right. So I think we've answered all the emails. I appreciate all the emails. Keep them coming, and we will answer the questions on the show. Also, we have a call-in number that you guys can actually use. You can call in and ask questions live. So, and I know there's there's some of you out there that are watching right now, and we've got people in the chat room that are talking. Sorry, I can't pay attention, but that's what I have Chris for. And apparently Chris isn't paying attention either. No, I've seen him posting in there also. So anyways, let's talk about hardware warranty. This is a question that came up, and I can't remember where it came from, or I would give credit to that person. But I get emails every once in a while that have these different questions, which are kind of neat. And, there's kind of a list of things. But anyways, hardware warranty. Do you charge labor for replacing a hard drive that is under manufacturer's warranty when you sell the customer a hard drive?
Yes.
Yes.
Unless it's under our initial warranty period. We give a warranty of 45 days to every job that we're doing. So if it goes beyond that period, then yes, we're going to charge labor. If not, then no, we're not going to charge labor.
Wow, we need to put a halo above your head. Seriously, 45 days?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I do 30. I don't know where you're coming from.
Oh, I can cover that. We're actually considering extending that, but we don't
Okay.
have a lot of people come back for warranty. I mean, quite honestly, it's like less than 1 in 4,000 people that come back in for warranty. It's a very low number, so we're usually really good on that, and that's why we extend the warranty out. And sometimes a little blip might happen too, and I want to make sure a customer isn't discouraged, thinking they're just automatically going to be charged something if it's just a very simple fix.
And I'm just kidding with you because I'm so soft. They could come back 3 months later, and I probably still take care of the problem.
That's good.
Just
That's
being
good.
honest.
Good customer service, though. It really
It
is. It means a lot to people. They'll come back to you forever for that.
Yeah, and then when they come back in 6 years and they're like, Jeff, you put this thing in.
Yeah, we're going to need it fixed for free today, right now while I wait.
Yeah,
that's right.
At that point, when something like that happens, I go and I grab my toolbox and I grab the hammer out and we just start bashing the computer.
Little office space action.
No more problems with your wireless now, is there?
It's fixed. Oh, man.
Most of my clients are, monthly fee or covered by our MSP, so there's really no cost to them for the warranty work we do. But, I kind of judge the kind of thing that for my customers that, you kind of get that gut feeling. Man, I'd feel screwed if this happened to me. So
Sure. Right. Yeah,
we have the 30-day thing too, but we've done it much longer than that, depending on what's happening, especially if they're a little old lady.
Yeah. I mean, the rule that I've always gone with, and this is something that I keep on telling our clients, is that if you call me 28 days into a 30-day warranty and you tell me, hey, listen, this happened, but there's no way that I'm going to be able to get the computer to you until blah, blah, blah time because we're on vacation or because we just can't or whatever. Like, that's, okay, you've told us. Right. So that's the expectation that we set to our clients is make sure that we are aware before the warranty is done that it's a problem. Because we will honor that warranty if we have a ticket open. And we will open a ticket as soon as you call us.
Right.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, a lot of times, and I think for the one-offs, I think it's one of those things where, you're going to get most of your hard drives are what? Some of them are even down to 1 year warranty, depending on which ones you get. A lot of them are rated 2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But there's times when when a brand new customer will bring me a computer, and I check it out, the hard drive's bad, and I go in and I go in and I take the number off the hard drive, and I put it into whatever, Seagate, Western Digital or whatever, and look at their warranty status and see if it's still under warranty, because it might be, a year and a half old. And a lot of times it's still covered. And I said, well, we can do one of two things. I can order you a new hard drive. We can get this, set up. I said, or we can contact the manufacturer, and, they'll send you another hard drive. The only problem with that is I will tell you that the hard drives that you're getting back when you do warranty, sometimes, I mean, I've done it, and it's worked out fine for me, but you're getting refurbished drives back, just so you're aware, especially in the U.S. and Canada. In other countries, it's illegal, but here in Canada, it's not. So,
I mean, here's a question for you guys then, just to throw it to the panel. Companies like Newegg, Future Shop, Best Buy, they have like those product replacement warranties, right? If we were doing in-shop labor is $69 an hour at our shop.
Okay.
So if we were to hypothetically have a setup where it's like, okay, we're replacing this hard drive for you. This is a brand new hard drive. It has a 1-year warranty. We provide you a 30-day labor warranty. So if within 30 days, if we open up a ticket, we're not going to charge you labor to replace that hard drive if it has to be done again. But for $9.99, we'll extend that for the year.
That's a good point. These big box stores do it all the time, and it's something I never really thought of.
Right. You're just basically betting on statistical probabilities that the hardware won't fail.
And the statistical probability says that it won't.
Right, most of the time.
Statistically, if you somehow manage to have worse odds than 1 in 6, find a new distributor.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's what all those stores are doing, and it's a lucrative side market for them.
Right. So now this is more of a moralistic question rather than a financial question, because financially, if I'm charging $69 to do something because a hard drive doesn't take more than an hour to replace, and I'm going to charge them $10 to extend that for a year, I'm not going to have worse than 1 in 7. There's no way that's going to happen. I'm going to make money off of it. That's a given. Morally, how do you feel about doing something like that?
I think you have to be forthright with your customer and make sure they understand that chances are your hardware is not going to fail. And also make sure that they know that they have coverage in addition from manufacturer warranty. They also have coverage from their credit card warranty. A lot of credit cards will double your warranty and give you enhanced coverage during the manufacturer warranty period. Some of them will even make sure that if your equipment fails, you'll bypass the manufacturer refurbished product and just get a whole new one. So I think it depends on the customer, and you want to be forthright with them, because morally, if you leave that info out, that's a little less than optimal.
You Americans with your stuff. I'm telling you right now that doesn't happen here.
Which part?
The credit card warranty, that doesn't exist.
You should check. I mean, American Express does that pretty much everywhere. Discover started doing it pretty much everywhere many years ago, and now a lot of Visa, MasterCard issuing banks are doing it. And if you can have an office address in the U.S., you could probably have a U.S. credit card, and you might be able to do it too.
No, actually, can't have a U.S. credit card just because I don't have any U.S. Tax information, so that's not going to happen. But I will tell you that Visa and MasterCard in Canada do not provide anything like that. I can't vouch for American Express because American Express charges vendors up here so much money to use that most people don't take it. So it's not something that a lot of Canadians even look for. But yeah, so that's something.
That was an interesting change, actually. Oh, sorry, go ahead, John.
No, go ahead, Alex. I'll follow up.
I was just going to say, with American Express, we actually used to take them for about 8 years, and it's been 8 years since we've taken them, but we stopped taking them because their rates were about 3.25, and now we're getting offers from them through our merchant vendor to drop that down to 1.6%. That's huge. That's a 50% discount.
That's a big drop.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Up here, the only real chain that took American Express was Costco. Costco had an exclusivity contract where they only took American Express, so there were anybody who had it were getting it because of Costco. But corner stores, even grocery stores, like pretty much anywhere up here, they don't take American Express unless they're a huge national chain.
Sure.
And I've done a lot of warranty repair because people buy at Costco and they use their American Express, and even down here, and it's like it's automatically, if you use an American Express at Costco, you get this, like, I can't remember if it's 2 year. I think it's a 2 year or 3 year warranty or something like that.
2 year warranty.
Okay.
In addition to the existing warranty.
Right. So it's covered. So people have weird things, and they're like, hey, can you write me up something, that says, I'm like, man, this thing's messed up. What happened to it? But it's pretty much it's pretty much a no questions asked. If there's a problem with the computer, they'll replace it, whatever it is.
Yeah, Costco is.
Does that cover accidental warranties or accidental damage?
It's not supposed. No, it's not supposed to.
No.
Not supposed to. Now, I'm kind of anti-extended warranty, even in my personal life, just for anything. But it depends on the unit you're buying. If you're buying a $8,000 flat screen television or a decked out MacBook Pro, you probably get your money back with one repair on that. And I also consider the user too for accidental damage.
Well, we're also talking about warranties that are built in, though, so there's no charge for these extended warranties. True. It's just the basis of the card.
Yeah, using the card. Yeah. Although I think where that's coming from, though, is the extension back to the original question, which was the moralistic implications of even offering a warranty like that. Where I mean, what it is, it's a labor warranty, right? Because we can't have a shop where we say, hey, listen, oh yeah, there's a 1 year warranty on that. No problem. We won't charge you for any repairs that we have to do in the next year. That doesn't make any sense because I don't have to charge you for hardware because I can get the hardware from the manufacturer, but I still have to charge labor.
Yep.
So if you get enough people that would sign up for that extended warranty, that'll cover your labor for being able to do the repairs, or even just dealing with the manufacturer for the client. I have one business client that I sold him his computers a year and a half ago, so there's still 6 months left on his warranty. If he had to get a hold of HP to do anything, he wouldn't get a hold of HP, he'd call me. Right? And as it stands right now, I'd have to charge him for that time because I don't work for free. So I would be charging him our hourly rate to contact HP for him to make all the arrangements. Whereas if I had told them, oh, by the way, for an extra $10 a computer, right, then we'll cover that for you. Well, for 2 years, I guess it would have to be 20, but that's not the point. We'll cover that for you for the warranty time.
Yeah,
exactly. Two things on that I would consider is, one, to have the system to track all this if you're going to do that. which a lot of the systems we've talked about in the past do.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing is, if you're going to rely on the manufacturer's hardware warranty, you probably got to stock some of your own replacement parts, because I don't know how forgiving business clients would be waiting for a week for that Western Digital drive to come back from them.
And then it's going to be refurbished too.
That depends a lot
Roger
on what it is that you're getting warranted. So, for an example, and I'm taking this from personal experience because of just where we're situated. We're in a fairly large city, and a lot of the warehouses where they ship things out are being shipped from an hour and a half away from us.
Sure.
So if I call up HP and say I need a replacement hard drive, more than likely I'm going to have it tomorrow, if not the next day. And then the swap can just happen. But you have to be careful on some of that stuff too. I don't know what the warranties are like in the US, but in Canada they actually track the serial numbers. So if I send them back a hard drive that wasn't theirs in the first place because I had already done a warranty replacement before and used one that I had in the shop, their HP is going to charge for that replacement drive that they sent out because it wasn't theirs. Now, so for something like an external Western Digital hard drive, they don't care. It's just a Western Digital hard drive. It's either theirs or it's not.
Yeah, I agree with you. Same thing from Dell. We'll get those parts overnight. I'm more referring to maybe that Western Digital drive you threw into a PC that you bought from Amazon that you got back. So that's not going to be a manufacturer replacement. But, the WD Black drives have a 5-year warranty. So, going back to needing that system, 4 years from now, if that drive fails, and you're going to cover it, or however you're going to set up your warranty, you're going to need a way to go back and probably do a little. Sometimes I just throw my hands up and replace the drive at my own cost just to keep the customer happy.
Yeah.
That's how important the customer is. Because, like with a hard drive, we're not talking a lot of money.
No, we're not.
Getting in SSDs and stuff. But
and let's be honest here, and I'm not putting anybody down when I say this, but if you are far enough along in your business that you are trying to decide whether or not you want to offer a warranty like this, you already are big enough to be able to give away the labor time in the first place. So, again, no offense to anybody who's not or that's working alone, Jeff, but
Ow!
But
hold on. Let me pull this knife out of my back. Oh.
Yeah, no, here we go.
There's a lot of blood out there. You all right, man?
And then, next thing he's going to do is he's going to hit that button that mutes my mic.
Dark week, isn't it?
Yeah. But really, though, I mean, you're probably already going to have hard drives in stock. So if it was a retail drive that you would put in the system, your chances are you're going to have another one because that's what you're doing, right? So that would be a really quick replacement. And then if you're following the same model that all of the Future Shop and Best Buy and all of them are using, then you're saying, okay, so you've used up your warranty. I just put in this new hard drive. So is it another $10 now?
Right.
And
so now you have more problems.
Yeah, and you've got to be clear with the customer that it is repaired hardware that you're getting. You're still paying a fee for a coverage to reinstall repaired and not new hardware. And a lot of the customers I have approached lately, when I explain how warranties work, are very skeptical about installing repaired hardware versus new hardware. They want their computer to work. They don't want to necessarily save money. They also want to save time.
Yeah.
So it seems to go back and forth. I think the morality of the issue is one where you have to make sure you're completely transparent with your clients about how that's going to work. And if you are, then charging the extra fee after you've done the first warranty, I suppose that's acceptable. You've done the work, and the fee has given them the discount. And I don't see that being a big deal as long as everyone's on the same page as to why that fee might need to be charged again in short order because it's not new hardware.
Well, one of the things, let's face it. I mean, whether it's a new hard drive or a refurbished hard drive, they're both crap. I mean, it's bottom line.
They are. But refurbished is so much worse.
Here's the thing, though. So when you get that repaired hard drive from a Seagate or a Western Digital, the problem is not so much that that drive could have a failure of some sort. The problem is if you want to get data back off of that, what happens is when they cut these drives down from a 1 terabyte drive to a 500 gigabyte drive, let's say, they rewrite the firmware for just that particular drive. And so when they do that, it's very hard from a data recovery standpoint to get that information back. So it's one of those things that, if we are going to put a refurbished hard drive into somebody's computer, I think that's fine, but we also need to let them know you need to have some sort of backup, because even if we send this out, it might be very, very hard to actually get the data back if the board fails or something like that, because you have to have the same types of parts with the same type of firmware in order to be able to do that a lot of times.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
You should be selling that on new equipment anyway, though. Like nobody ever should not be offered some sort of a backup solution. I mean, even somebody who doesn't have internet should be offered a Western Digital external backup at least, so that they can keep their systems backed up.
Right. I think with the refurbished drives, though, the data recovery issues are a significant issue because drives are repaired for a variety of different reasons, and a lot of the times when they're repaired, it might be a firmware reprogram, it might be that they're physically destroying heads, it might be that they're using parts that have never been used in this drive from this particular period of manufacturing before, so you can't find a compatible donor. But there are much higher than normal failure rates on refurbished drives because, let's face it, these are failed drives that have been repaired that have already had wear and tear, and they're being repaired with used parts that have had wear and tear. So they're not going to last, the full life of a normal hard drive. More often than not, they're going to fail early. So the other consideration is not just, hey, when this drive fails, it's going to be complicated to get your data back, but hey, this drive's probably not going to perform as stable as it would if it was a new part.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
It's hard to get away from. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
It's hard to get away from that, though, because when you send something in for a warranty replacement, you're only ever going to get the used ones. And the cost of replacing every single hard drive that's in warranty with a new hard drive, most shops can't handle that extra cost. So, I mean, yeah, a replacement warranty would be something that you can use to offset it, and as long as you don't have more hard drives failing than what you're going to be able to afford to replace on top of the labor, you're probably looking at more than just a seventh of your labor cost.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely not going to pay for somebody's hard drive. If it fails. I mean, I'm going to it's the hard drive itself is here's the warranty that they provide. We'll get a new refurbished hard drive and we'll install it if that's what you want to do. Again, it's just letting them know all the ins and outs of what you're doing. I'm not gonna eat the cost on that drive, especially not for some of your smaller shops like me, Chris.
Well, it also comes back to that
now,
credit
also
card
keep in
one.
mind that we've been talking about this for about 15 minutes, about the values of refurbished with all that. You've got about 30 seconds to explain this to your client in brass tacks before they get that, that look on their face like, what the are you talking about?
Yeah.
So you got to have your elevator pitch on this ready to go.
It's pretty simple, though. It's like, would you want something used that you rely on, or would you want something new that you rely on?
It's what I completely see where you're coming from, Alex, but it really isn't that simple, especially when you're dealing with residential repair. I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember, you do mostly business, right?
No, I do a pretty good mix of both.
You do a good mix of both. Okay, so residential clients in your area, then, when you tell them, hey, listen, here's your two choices and here's the price difference.
There's a third
around here, they're taking it.
It's really important to remember there's that third choice. We've been talking about the credit card covering the extended warranty, and a lot of people around here have credit cards that cover that extended warranty. And oftentimes, when you explain to the person on the credit card, hey, look, if you cover this warranty and we get a refurbished drive back, they're probably going to be calling you back pretty soon to get the same thing done again, and you're going to be paying more in labor. I've had more often than not some of those card companies just pitch for a new drive, knowing what the chances are that a refurbished drive is not going to be a good experience for their client. So the third option is talk to your client about what credit card they use to make the purchase, and when they do make the purchase with you, ask them to use a credit card that they're aware of has that kind of policy, and if they don't know, have them call their credit card before they come in to settle up, and that could save everyone a bunch of time and a headache.
And actually that brings up a good point too, because I'll tell you, when I go to take my car into the shop to have any work done, they have pamphlets for what I can't remember what credit card company they use for this, but they actually have pamphlets for people to apply for a credit card to finance the work that's being done.
Right.
Now, there's no warranty that's being talked about on that, but I'm almost wondering if American Express has a program like that where, as a computer repair shop, you can get applications to do some sort of a referral for them. Even if you don't get money off of it, it's a way for you to be able to tell your clients, like, hey, listen, if you've got the credit for it, here's a credit card that you can apply for, and they'll actually provide you a warranty for all of this. So if anything happens, you bring it on back, and the credit card company will pay for it.
Right. It'll at least offset the hardware
I don't
cost.
disagree. I concur with all this, but I also go back to the point that we're talking about a lot of users that don't know the password to their email. So if you dig up their receipt, there's just a lot of variables here. So, and since we can't get consensus among us professionals, I get it. And for my clients, my business clients, I have all that information. So I track all the computers. I have all the service tags and all that kind of stuff. But I don't deal with a ton of consumers, so I'm kind of baffled by how you guys keep track of all that and help them help themselves a little bit too. Otherwise,
ticket systems are glorious.
Yep. Absolutely.
yeah, I get that, but
Like Repair Shopper has a warranty section where you can write in what your warranty is on the asset that you've added to a customer.
But you're also asking the customer to call your credit company and do this, and if that's the little old lady down the block, you may end up having to do that for her, which I've done in the past. But,
And you know what? I have absolutely no problem calling a credit card company and being like, okay, listen, I need you to give them your account information and give them permission so that I can ask this question, and then have them stand there with the phone on speakerphone and say, hey, do you guys warranty a purchase of new equipment or repair? So I mean, it's fairly simple to. Well, I wouldn't do it. I'd have Diane, my secretary, do it. But that's not the point. The point is that it would get done, right? So yes, it's absolutely helping the customer with something like that is going to give you that extra customer service, so that the next time they need repair, they're going to come to you anyway. So I don't see a problem with that.
I agree 100%. You just got to put that in your value equation that you might have times whatever number of more time put into that job.
And I think another thing, since we're on the topic of credit cards, the conversation should probably also go into the area of EMV cards, because here in the United States, all businesses by October 1st are going to have an EMV card reader. If they do not have an EMV card reader and there's fraudulent activity on their account, they will be held liable. The whole paradigm is shifting, and most people in this small business area, they don't know. All the clients I've talked to that are small businesses, this is a huge opportunity for people like us. We got to get the word out there, but people don't know that this is a regulation that's coming online, and the banks are compliant. If they weren't compliant, they'd be eating the fraud. The merchant processing companies, by and large, are compliant. One of the problems I've run into, and other businesses I've talked to that are aware of it, is that their payment processors don't have the equipment and or the software available yet for them to become compliant by October 1st. So something as a heads up to all the people that listen to the show, but also a heads up that they should be giving their clients. Now, one thing that I'm aware of from the research I've been doing is that you can still manually punch in the card number, and you won't have that liability shift, but you will pay the non-present credit card rate, which is usually over 3%.
A lot more.
Right. So that's the only workaround you might have if you don't have non-compliant equipment by October 1st. But this is all stuff that I'd like to get out there, because most of the people I've talked to are not aware of it.
Well, I think it's not actually October 1st. It starts. But the thing is, what's going to end up happening is all these companies are not going to replace their cards automatically with the chip cards. It's not even chip and pin. It's just chip.
It's chip and signature, and most of the credit cards that I'm seeing come in from clients have already been replaced. The reason is that by October 1st, if those companies haven't replaced the card, they're liable for the fraud. If the card has been replaced and it's a chip-enabled card and it gets swiped in a magnetic strip reader and there's fraud, the company eats the fraud.
Ah, okay.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Sure.
The EMV, that's just the chip and pin, isn't it?
It's chip and
signature here, but yes.
For what we're doing is we're going from magnetic swipe, then we're going to chip and signature, and then we're going to have to replace our equipment all over again in a couple of years when they do chip and pin, because the payment processing folks basically felt it was too big of a shift to go from magnetic strip to chip and pin immediately.
Gotcha. Okay, so for any Canadians that are listening to this, that's what we have already.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've already done all this.
Actually, just about the rest of the world has already done that.
Yeah, this is the U.S. catching up because of the massive credit card fraud that's happened on the payment swipe interceptions that wouldn't have been possible if we were using EMV.
Yeah. Not to say that there aren't some places around here that just do the swipe. I've seen them, but I don't use my card in those places for that reason.
Well, and I just got an email from Square, which is a payment processing unit I use, and they're actually giving you, well, not giving you, it's $49 for the chip card reader.
Right.
That you can get, and it comes out in September, I think. So
Square is on top of their game.
I want to make Alex's point. Clear in case anybody doesn't understand. The liability is going to fall down to us.
Yes.
Where the liability always used to fall to the bank. So if you're not compliant and there's fraud, the bank's not going to help you. You're going to pay.
Right.
Meaning us, the reseller, the retailer. So, and tell your customers that too. So it could be a rude awakening.
Some
And that's a
businesses
great
are
point,
going to lose
Alex.
a lot of money. Yeah, I'm really concerned about it, and I'm really concerned. Us tech guys have at least a little bit of an advantage because if we get the email, we can act on it. We know what we're doing. We can plug in a new reader, get everything up and running.
Yeah.
But our clients, our small business clients, this is going to hit some of them like a tsunami because if they get some fraud that's more than their their operational costs can tolerate, that can be the difference between an ongoing concern and not.
Yeah.
So, try to get this word out to other people just as a public service that we do as techs because this is really important.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like this is going to wind up being a newsletter now because it's something that just has to go out.
Yeah.
And this
but
means you got to
you're also-
replace all the little USB swipes. You got to replace your, the big thing sitting on your desk that a lot of people still use. I mean,
point
all
of
of
sale
that has to be
yeah.
EVM compliant.
And then or the people who just use the little carbon copy paper. There's also going to wind up being a lot of businesses at that point who are just not going to put in the cost of replacing all of the equipment and just stop taking credit cards.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was gonna say.
And that is going to be unfortunate for everybody because that's going to wind up losing those businesses money, and it's going to wind up causing customers to look for new places to shop. It's nobody carries cash. I'm generalizing here, but nobody carries cash in Canada. If you're carrying cash in Canada, it's because you're going to the casino and you only want to bring so much money with you, so your debit card's at home, right? So it's if somebody walks into my shop and I didn't offer debit or credit, they'd walk out and go find a new shop.
And
see, that's different here because for me, everybody would still, because people always ask, and but predominantly the most payments I get is from checks.
mm-hmm.
Predominantly still today. And here's the thing, from businesses, it's 100% checks. 100%, because you're doing a 7-day, 14-day, 30-day net. By the time you send out an invoice, those people are just going, their accounting department's ripping you off a check, boom, they're sending it out and done. So really, for me, there's not going to be, if I stop taking credit cards, the only reason I started doing it was for a convenience for a few people, but for most people, it's not going to matter.
And I'll validate that because we don't even take credit cards. Everything we do is check or transfer, bank transfer.
Your country is nuts.
I will say.
I just don't have that.
I think
demand.
this is really going to create an opportunity for mobile payment systems. I think that things that are able to transact where your phone is your wallet will succeed here, where other payment systems are not going to be as convenient. I think the liability shift is a very short-sighted one because ATMs and gas stations don't happen until 2016 and 2017, respectively. From my understanding, there's a lot of fraud that happens there, a lot of double swipe readers and things like that in those establishments. But at the end of the day, it's really just bad for the small businesses who aren't going to be as aware of this change, and where the payment processors haven't made us as aware as we should be. And then in some situations, like in my case, there's actually no solution afforded by Intuit, who's our payment processor. They basically said, look, we hope to have something soon. And they have a little mobile one for a phone, but that doesn't really work well because we need to reconcile all of our charges with our bookkeeping software. So, that would be like having to go through and do every transaction twice, which doesn't really work with our volume. So, at the end of the day, we're hoping they come up with something, but, if not taking credit cards is at least in person, because online it's not effective. Let's be clear here. Online, if you're taking payments, this has no effect, and if you're punching in the card, it has no effect, but if you're swiping the card, it has a huge effect. And I will say from a security standpoint, I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense, because if you steal someone's credit card and you know that the swiping isn't going to work anymore, you could just go on Amazon or some other website and start racking up charges the same way. So this is a little bit short-sighted.
No, it seems like they didn't really think that part of it through. But I mean, at the same time, too, now that you're bringing that up, this might also wind up being a huge opportunity for Stripe. Because Stripe integrates with a lot of different accounting and ticketing systems where it'll process the payments and update everything for you. I can see this being a huge opportunity for them to turn around and say, hey, listen, we charge 2.9%, but you don't have to deal with this liability.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, we've covered a lot of different subjects, and this has been great conversation about the things that are coming up and things that we're, as techs we have to deal with in our businesses, and I hope you guys have gotten a lot out of this show. I'll tell you what, Alex, if people want to find you, what's the best place to find you online?
It's going to be Envescent.com. That's ENVESCENT.com. That's our business-to-business site. And then consumer-facing, we have ArlingtonVAComputerRepair.com. And, you know, for the techs that are listening out there, we might be able to help with some of the more difficult data recovery jobs they're confronting, or some of the IT tasks, especially as they pertain to, you know, Linux and Unix and areas that are, you know, some folks might not have as deep of expertise. That's our bread and butter. So, you know, for anyone that needs our help or just wants to ask a quick question, get in touch or follow us on Twitter at Investment.
Excellent. Well, appreciate you coming on the show.
Happy to be here.
And John, if you want to find you, and I know you're going to be in Chicago here in a few short weeks.
Yeah, find me in Chicago on August 2nd. Amen.
But where can people find you online?
Mavengroup.net. M-A-V-E-N group.net.
All right, excellent. And Chris, go ahead and let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a remote support tech team. We're white label support for IT companies. We help your customers so you don't have to. You can give us a call at 866-568-2813, or you can email us at info@rstechteam.com.
Excellent. Appreciate everybody coming on the show today and sharing with us. We do Podnutz Computer Repair Podcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern over at podnutz.com/live. We would love if you guys would watch and join in on the conversation by hanging out in the chat room or calling in live. We do have a live line. On-demand audio and video always available after the fact over at podnutz.com and my YouTube channel, Podnutz Live Show for Computer Repair Techs. You guys can find me on the Google Plus at Jeffery Halash or Twitter at TechNutPC. And if you're a computer repair tech and would like to be a guest on Podnutz Daily, please feel free to reach out and talk to me. You can we can talk about your business and what you're doing for your business. Is a technician business owner. You can send me an email to podnutzdaily@podnutz.com. And if you guys want to email questions and or feedback for this show, you can email us at podnutz@podnutz.com. You guys can leave a voicemail at the call-in number 1-888-697-0162. And if you guys would do us a favor, if you could leave us a rating and review over on iTunes, that would help more people know about us, and we would definitely appreciate it and also read it on the show. You guys can also help support the Podnutz Network. The next time you're shopping on Amazon, go to podnutz.com/Amazon. I want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing to the show. We'll see you next time on Podnutz, the Computer Repair Podcast. Do.
Nice bring up on that credit card thing, Alex. That's a great point.
Yes.
I'm surprised we haven't touched on that earlier.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't understand the whole. There's no point in having the chip without the pin, in my opinion.
Agreed, 100%.
That's asinine. You're right. I agree with you 100%. Why can't we just be like the rest of the world? I just don't.
Or
understand.
even leapfrog them and do something better with a one-time authentication on our phone. I mean, we could do so much better. We're already having to overhaul everything. Just do it right the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, it's same reason why we don't use metrics.
Right, because they're better.
They're
they want me
easier
to buy more
understand.
tools.
Yeah.
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 They want to frustrate me because I never have the right wrench. Yes.
I'm actually on
exactly.
the American Express Canada site right now.
And?
Well, I don't know yet. I'm on the site.
I gotta admit, I always
What does
forget
that mean?
about that credit card warranty, and I know every card I carry has that.
It's a big deal. It really helps a lot. And it also affects things like refrigerators, dishwasher, microwave, like whatever big appliance purchases you make, they're covered by that too. So it can really be a lifesaver.
Yeah, I got my Costco.
There- yeah.
right here.
Nice.
So, yeah.
All of our credit cards offer like travel insurance. If you buy, and
Right.
even like if you buy, those how you can get a discount on your tickets that you buy in advance as long as you take it. This is a firm ticket, so you can't change the date.
Right.
Pretty much any credit card that you get up here, you can buy those, and it comes with travel cancellation insurance. So they'll actually refund you the money for the ticket.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, so I mean, that type of stuff we have, and then travel medical insurance because well, you guys are having it now too with Obamacare, but we've had our OHIP for the Ontario health insurance, so that's a standard thing that you get if you travel outside of the country is medical insurance to go with you. But I'm looking at American Express's Canadian website right now, and I don't see anything on here about the labor insurance.
Oh, so we got something up on you? Is that what you're saying?
That's not new, Jeff. You guys, you guys are a lot more consumer-centric than we are when it comes to all of this stuff. It doesn't matter what, cell phones, internet, everything.
You know,
Just don't invade. Take over. Just get this thing right.
yeah, exactly.
We're too nice though. We'd like come to the
That's
border
true.
and we'd say, can we come in, please?
Yeah, but we're so dumb. We just go, yeah, come on in.
So sorry to
Oh man. All right,
You know,
hey, go ahead,
What
Chris.
what gets crazy is whenever I wind up in a conversation like this with any of my American friends, and I'm like, yeah, well, it'd be a real shame if we came and burned down the White House again. And their response isn't, how dare you say something like that? The response is, again?
Yeah, most people don't know about that.
Right?
You see, my response would be, when's that going to happen?
Hang on. Let me reload. I'm reloading.
No, it's politics. You can't live with it, and you can't live with it.
Well, we used to have a more antagonistic relationship with our neighbor to the north. Thankfully, it's more like the 51st state now, right, Chris?
Yeah, well, it's because we spend most of our time apologizing to you guys for things that you did.
Right, that's true.
That's true. And you got a bunch of Frenchies up that way, so,
Yeah,
Whoa!
but you guys are prepared for the zombie apocalypse. I was just reading the article about this happened a while ago where you guys passed some sort of parliamentary bill to prepare for the zombie apocalypse.
Sure,
Have you read
why
this?
not? No.
We've
Nice.
got resources at our Centers for Disease Control doing the same thing too. I don't know if it's for real, but if you Google zombie apocalypse CDC, there's like a whole page on the site about how to prepare as an individual citizen for a zombie
Anybody
apocalypse.
that's ever seen a zombie movie would know there is no way to prepare. You're
Right.
screwed.
Well,
No,
what you're
you
supposed to
can't.
do,
No,
yeah,
I think I'll make it. I'm pretty sure I'll make it.
there's one technique. You put treadmills outside every entrance on your place. So they're just, they're just stuck in place, just walking forever, trying to get in.
Oh, okay, and then...
No, you haven't seen World War Z. They're pretty fast.
Okay, no, but this is perfect because then all you do is you take off the regulator for it, and then you connect all of those treadmills to a generator.
There you go.
And now you've got yourself power for your house,
Yes.
being powered by the same zombies that are trying to get in.
Unholy, undead zombie power to keep your lights on.
I think, you know what? I think I just won the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, you did. You just got the zombie
burn
apocalypse
up,
Nobel
too.
Prize.
Admittedly, it was because of the treadmill idea, so I have to give you credit for that.
Okay, we can share it. It's all right. We
All
can
right.
share it.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, I have to call it early this week. I've got to head out to a graduation party for a friend of mine.
Ooh.
But enjoyed being with you all tonight or this afternoon, and we will see you guys next Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great week.